Happy Tuesday, Junkie Nation. This is your boy Kenshiro, and we're back with another episode of Live from Junkie Nation. First, let me introduce the panel to my right. Joining us again is Mr. Josh Mundy. How are you doing there, sir?
Well, I am doing just spectacular.
Besides a little bit of a mic issue, but that's okay. We all have them, so it'll be all right. It'll be all right. We're glad you can join us again, man. Glad you can join us. We also got Mr. GQ checking in today.
I'm not checking in. I'm cleaning my swords. I'm doing like important work here. So.
Well, yeah, I'll leave you to that.
I just happen to be here.
Yeah, I'll leave you to that. We got Miss Krusty checking in. Look, she's got a new name tag too.
Hey y'all, it's fancy. I like it.
Yeah, she likes it. She likes it. Hey, follow her on Instagram if you haven't followed her yet. We got the great Dadakuji checking in as well.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good, and looks like Megashawn is over there playing the Division. He's too busy to playing that in order to really kind of talk to us. So.
Oh no, I can always talk to you guys.
Yeah, but well, multitasking, I guess. So that's cool. Obviously, you're not on.
Spice of life.
Yes, it is. Obviously, he's not on Twitch because we're on Twitch right now. So he'll be playing that and being off screen doing whatever he does. So anyway, let's get the show going. First, let's start off with the news. Krusty, you got some news for us, right? What is this about Fallout DLC stuff?
Yes, Fallout they have a new DLC called Automatron. It's coming out March 22nd. It's going to be $10. It's basically like Robot Wars. If I can, that's from the trailer that was released yesterday. That's pretty much all I can describe it as.
Like Robot
so I'm
Wars.
excited.
Robot Wars.
Yeah.
Compare it to another game. Is it like Armored Core type thing or what?
From the trailer, it just looks like you build a robot and they come fight with you. Like you say, you never played before.
Yeah.
When you run around places, you can have there be little robots that'll help you defeat people or they'll attack you.
Oh, so like little pets.
Now,
okay.
Yeah.
Like a little pets. Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
I guess now you can build one that will fight for you. I guess.
Well, Josh has got himself a Pip-Boy in the background, so obviously he's a Fallout fan. How do you feel about it?
I am indeed. Yeah, I actually haven't watched the trailer yet, so I'm gonna have to catch that as soon as I can. I did see there was a post for it on YouTube, but I was too busy watching Culture Junkies stuff.
Look at this man. He's dedicated. He's dedicated.
I got. There's a big backlog, man. No, I love me some Fallout. It's just that world is so big and you can get sucked in so deep that it's like it's like the Skyrim syndrome. You gotta back off every once in a while and
or else you get kind of sucked in doing side quests and stuff like that. I get it.
I play small games that are free downloads from Xbox or something, just as like to get me away from the constant. You can't play 220 hours of Fallout and then enjoy a DLC. So
hey,
when the DLC drops, I'll start playing it again.
Hey, don't you know these games demand your life? They demand your soul. Have to play them all day, every day. Anyway, moving on.
Even during a podcast.
Yes, even during a podcast, right, Megashawn? That's right. That's right. So let's move on to the next little bit of news. News dropped today that Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Mr. Muscles from Brussels, who ain't so young anymore, is going to be revisiting one of his old movies. Not Universal Soldier. He's done that numerous times. This time he's going to do Kickboxer in Kickboxer Vengeance. I don't know what to make of this. Dadakuji, what do you think?
Well, being the fact that he is an old man, but supposedly an in shape old man, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. I mean, wouldn't you liked when Arnold came back to watch to see him as being a Terminator? A lot of people thought it was suck, but that was a drawing point to see Arnold again as the Terminator, see how they could pull it out. I personally don't have a problem with it because, as you know, if they picked a new guy for any movie that they're coming from the 80s, it's not going to be as respected, i.e. Conan the Barbarian. And I thought Conan was, the new one with Jason Momoa was amazing, but, a lot of nostalgia heads was like, nah, it sucked. So
you're the other guy who thought that movie was good other than me?
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah,
So I
I
mean,
still haven't
that's
seen
how
it.
that works. So why not for the nostalgia, just get Jean-Claude Van Damme just because? Why not?
Yeah, I still haven't
Right.
seen it. I still haven't seen it, so I don't know what to say.
It's way more in
But
keeping with the fantasy realm of Conan than the original movies.
Yeah,
It's way deeper into the fantasy element.
you can go.
yeah,
You can almost go and say it's better than the Arnold ones, and that's it's tough because the Arnold ones are great because of nostalgia. They were great for what they were back then. You can watch them, have fun with them all the time. But this new one was awesome, and it was more violent than the ones back in the '80s. Hard to
Right.
believe.
Except for Red Sonja, that movie was violent as fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
dude, Red Sonja was like one of my cult favorites. I'm sorry. Maybe
Same
I'm
here,
alone.
man.
Oh, okay, all right. At least I'm not alone on that. That was one of my favorites. That was my introduction to the character, and well, let's not dwell on that. Moving on. Let's see. The other thing in news that we had today is a very and Megashawn could speak about this, and he might cut the game off immediately. Turns out that the division is revealing people's IP addresses, aka they'll be able to find you out there on the net somewhere. Uh,
They're coming
does,
for you,
they're
Bubba.
coming for you. So what do you think about that, Mr. Megashawn?
Oh, well, they're not coming from me because the game gives you an option to turn that off. And it actually says once you click yes or no, depending on what you already have clicked, that it will, make your IP address not visible. So, I'm not concerned because I've already
Really?
hit it. Yeah. So, yeah, I've already taken care of that. Megashawn is always 3 steps ahead.
Was that something that they updated, or was that something that was there from the get-go?
Well, no, it hasn't. As far as I know, it hasn't been updated yet. Just me, looking at stuff, and then like it was a very weird option.
My
Like, what do you
question is, why
mean?
would
Why
why
would
would
you
they
even
even
put
put
that
that
in
in
there?
there?
Yeah, it's so
Well, I
strange.
mean,
Ubisoft
because
is the devil.
because it's via the voice chat, so I guess it makes it easier to because that's what the voice chat runs through. So I guess it makes it easier somehow. But
Wait
I
a
don't
minute.
need to talk to nobody.
Wait a minute, man. The voice chat has always run through Xbox Live, so I don't understand why they would put that in there. That something seems wrong about that.
I
Something's
mean,
off about
well,
that.
I mean, clearly something definitely needs to be fixed, but as far as Megason goes, it's been turned off. So for everybody out there who doesn't know that, you just go into the settings at the beginning of the game. You go to the audio. I'm sorry, you go to voice, and then it'll give you the option to shut it off and protect somebody from buying 8 houses in your name.
Right.
Yee.
It has
Okay.
all of it
That
figured
that's
out.
Yeah.
that's that uninitiated versus the initiated. These people just don't get it.
Yeah. That's. Mm, yeah. I'm not liking that, and it gives. If Sev was here, he'd be going kind of crazy talking about the evils of Ubisoft. So we won't revisit them here.
Let me just
He's
ask this quick:
Go ahead.
the Xbox Live thing, or is it the game division? Period.
According to the story, it's the division that's doing it.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
it's
for
not
both
a
platforms.
right. Yeah, it's not an Xbox Live thing. It's the actual game itself has that option.
I
I see.
see. All right.
And then I'm not sure if it goes to if you're playing with people and only they can see it, or if it's just as you're going around anyone whom you communicate with, if it's just open. So that part I'm not sure on if it's just all the way open, period, or if it's open to those whom you've had voice contact with.
Okay.
Either way it go, definitely not a good look, as you guys have stated.
Yeah, for real.
Yo, man, Megashawn over there looking like Dr. Claw a little bit with the whole his face ain't on the screen and stuff like that. You can just see like a
Just
little
his
bit of it.
hand.
It's and you can see like a TV screen like you would with Dr. Claw back in the day, the old Inspector Gadget cartoon. Anyway, let's move on a little bit, guys. Today we had a pretty good episode of Marvel's Agents of Shield. Just ended not too long ago. We know we're gonna try and be considerate of the people that live on the West Coast and not spoil too many things, but a couple of things happened that were pretty interesting. One, I was glad to see Adrian Pasdar back as Colonel Glenn Talbot. I enjoyed his character last season, and he brought that same passion and fire to this episode. But we also got surprisingly, we also got the Absorbing Man, Crusher Creel. He came back as well. I was kind of surprised to see that, and it looks like the way his powers worked, the Terrigenesis Nautilus didn't work on him. Did you see the show tonight, Josh?
I actually don't watch it.
Oh, that's that DC fan in you, isn't it? GQ, what'd you think about it?
Marvel and Jessica Jones, or Jessica Jones and Daredevil.
All right. Well, what'd you think, GQ?
I enjoyed the show. Like I was talking to Daida Kuji before we got started tonight. They are slowly and introducing the concept of mutants, even though they obviously cannot call them mutants. Fox owns that.
Right.
But they're calling them the Inhumans. Essentially, are taking the place of mutants, as we know. But even the discussion, this so-called like some world council type meeting they had, they were talking about that they're humans, but they just happen to have a genetic affliction that gives them a little something extra. So essentially, the same description we've got for mutants all the time for X-Men, all dating back to the beginning. So it's cool to see that they're acknowledging that. I think once we get closer to Civil War, they're going to have a little bit of crossover, possibly for events that are happening in Civil War, because obviously they don't want to give anything away for that movie because it comes out in May. So obviously. I think we're going to start to get some of that little, cross connection, cross pollination coming in probably right around, last week of April or something like that. So I'm pretty excited. I thought this episode was cool. They're doing more with, he's not Ward anymore, but with his character. So it's going to be a good season this time around, or good second half of the season.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried myself, because I kind of thought that this season, after the whole Inhumans reveal, it was kind of, it was started out kind of exciting, and then it's been kind of up and down this season. But I'll admit that the whole the Rosalind thing with Rosalind and Coulson, I thought that was pretty good. But I was still a little bit up in the air about the second half of the season, and it's been a couple of good episodes back to back since it came back. So, and joining us now is the big Kahuna, who joined us a little bit late. Welcome, Kahuna. How you doing?
Hello. Salutations.
Did you get to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or you were out running some errands?
I only got to see. I saw like right up to the part where they were talking about. It was like 15 minutes in. I saw.
Okay.
So it was like when they were talking about when Talbot was saying that he doesn't go anywhere without absorbing man.
Oh my goodness! Joining us in the chat, Mr. Robert Eisenson, one of our friends from the Culture Junkies discussion group. Welcome to the show, sir. We're glad you can finally join us live. We're glad to have you. And thank you for that, Mr. Kahuna. You were right on time.
Hold on. It looks like Megashawn dropped out of the call, but he sent Mad Cat over to Krusty. Because Mad Cat's sitting there on Krusty's desk, and he's come back, so he might want his cat back. But that was a little bit interesting.
He took off the whole. I guess he ain't like that Dr. Claw.
Right.
Reference.
Then he suddenly transported the cat over to Krusty. That's interesting.
That's weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cats love me.
Cats do love you. Okay. That's great. But Kahuna, so back to you a little bit. Did you like that? I don't remember if we ever got your feeling about how Glenn Talbot kind of came back and figured into the season. You glad to see him back as a part of the show?
Oh yeah, I am. I always liked him as an actor. Because I liked his role when he was in Heroes.
Mm-hmm. I really liked him in Heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad to see him back. It's pretty good. I'm glad to see. I like how you see Ward's transformation into Hive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just waiting for Mark Dukakis to do some more awesome shit.
Yeah, he's kind of just standing there right now.
Yeah,
he's just there.
He's like Boba Fett right now.
Yeah, but I'll admit, I think a little bit in this episode, I could see a lot of the stuff that was going on with Hive and him kind of whatever he's doing with the humans looked like it was making him really uneasy. So we might see a kind of a double cross coming his way later in the season. Like he might turn against Malik.
I'm going over it now, watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's so much a double cross as he's watching people become ingredients on Iron Chef, and it's just kind of like, damn. that's kind of messed up. So I'm gonna have to like rethink my joining Hydra here because people are getting just turned into like dessert and hors d'oeuvres for this thing. So I think
Oh,
he's a little bit unsettled.
a spot on Iron Chef USA reset. Well done. Crystal, did you happen to watch the show today?
No, I
No.
was eating pho,
She
getting
was eating
fudded up.
fast. She's getting
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, we see where her priorities are. Right?
You know she don't watch TV.
Everybody else is studying and preparing for the show. She's getting filled up. Excuse me.
It was so
Anyway,
good.
yeah.
She probably still got an old school TV with the UHF.
What?
Where you gotta tune in the TV like you cracking a safe.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
No.
No. Well, another thing that kind of came out today is we had a little bit of a there was a little bit of a controversy on the show concerning Talbot and Coulson. You know, the partnership didn't get off to a very smooth start, but you also kind of you also kind of got that um, Talbot still didn't really trust Coulson, even though he was kind of forced to work with him. Um, and something happened in the episode that kind of made kind of made for the central conflict in the show concerning Talbot and Malik and even Creel. I was a little surprised to see that. I was a little surprised to see that Absorbing Man is being turned into an agent for the U.S. government. Um, GQ and Dadakuchi, did you watch the show? You watched the show a little bit today, right?
I did
Um,
watch the show. Yeah, I got up to the point where they had him in that containment unit,
hmm
and then my video game deal came through, so I kind of wasn't paying attention.
Okay. You always got to get them games that he ain't gonna break open and play. I get it.
I may not break these ones open because some of them are as you say, some pretty pitties. I can either just hold on to them for a bit or flip them,
Right,
but
or
I
flip
probably
them.
won't. I probably won't flip them right away.
But I guess what I was gonna get at is that I was a little surprised to see that Absorbing Man is kind of being reformed. Now, one of the things that I liked about last season when he was even introduced was that they're not playing him as the muscle-headed oaf that he traditionally has been in Marvel Comics. He's kind of been flipped as to being like kind of a street smart criminal, career criminal. But them kind of flipping him and making him into like an agent for the ATCU and for General Talbot, I thought was kind of a bit of a flip. GQ, what do you think about that? Considering Absorbing Man, where he came from and what he's being portrayed as now.
Well, I mean, if you even go back to it, looking at Absorbing Man, that little bastardized version we got in the original Hulk movie. I
hmm
mean, it's one of those situations where characters, if you're going to bring them into for a newer audience, they have to evolve. People can't be. I mean, like for example, Sandman. I mean, it's like he was always an annoying character in the comic books, but they tried to give him a little bit of heart and soul in Spider-Man 3.
hmm
It didn't work, but I mean, at least they tried. They tried to, change it up a little bit. So I mean, for Absorbing Man to kind of work with the government and everything, I mean, it's just it fits the way things work nowadays. If you're somebody that has a long criminal history and you have the opportunity to essentially expunge all of that and work with the government, almost like this, almost like a Suicide Squad type of deal, you're going to go ahead and take it because it's like, these days you're not going to be able to get much done unless you're going to either stay a criminal, be hunted for the rest of your life, or work with the government for a couple of years and get all that taken care of and live a, somewhat normal life for whatever a powered being can do. So it's just, character evolution. You can't leave them the exact same that they've been in the comic books for the past, 40 plus years.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Um, Now let's get to like you were saying with Wade, Hive, and Ward. Let me get your thoughts on the way he's being depicted. I mean, you can't really get a very clear grasp on what they're trying to do with Hive. I mean, it's kind of like a slow burn at this point. They're kind of developing him real slowly. He's never even left that bunker, so you don't really know what the end game is. What's your speculation on what's going to happen towards the end of the season?
I think Hive is essentially going to be either if he's going to be a carryover, because again, as long as Ward is his host and that actor, I mean, love the guy's work. So as long as he's his host, they're basically going to keep him on the show. So I mean, unless he decides to, they're going to write that actor out and switch him to another host or another body, he'll be around probably for season 3, season 4, if they get to that point, unless they decide to make his story arc something that ties into Civil War. So that's kind of, to me, the only way they're going to write him off. Otherwise, he's just going to be an underlying Hydra element for however long they want to keep him on the show.
Now, do you think this will finally be it? Because I think I've been saying, me personally, I think I've been saying that this is it for Grant Ward for the past couple of seasons. I thought he was going to be dead last season, and he stuck around, and I thought he was going to be dead.
I think the guy does such a good job at what he does. It's like, it just works. It was such a perfect thing in season 1, having like, okay, you got this super badass agent who can work with May, and like they can play off of each other, and they have this little affair going, and it's cool. Then all of a sudden it's like, no, he's a traitor. Whoa! So he does the complete flip, complete evil, complete. And it's just like, this guy is good. So I think he just became popular and more, interesting enough where it's like, okay, even if we kill him, let's find a way to bring him back, and they did. So I mean, for me, I like the fact that they're letting the guy, basically just, evolve. Technically, it's like he's changed. He's playing a whole different character. Ward, Grant Ward, as we know it, is either dead and gone, or they're gonna find some weird. Okay, he liked Grant enough to find a way to keep him alive and move to another body. So I mean, there's a ton of different things they can do. We already know this is comic book, inspired, so you can go crazy with it. So for me, I like the slow development for this character, because it's supposed to be that big evil that's just like, overpowering anything that we've seen on the show so far.
Kahuna, you got any thoughts to add on the direction of where they're going to go with Hive towards the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't see them offing Grant Ward no time soon. He's a big fan favorite, and a lot of the Agents of Shield fans, they're holding in that hope with him and Daisy still hooking up. The
Dude,
what do you call it? The shippers, when they like to put the two actors together or whatever. They love this guy. So
look, man, I think that ship has sailed. I think that is totally sailed now. That's over with.
It might, but he's a huge fan favorite. So I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna find a way where Hive leaves his body somehow, or is no longer his hope. They're gonna find a way to keep him alive and keep him on the show. He's not. I don't think he's going nowhere no time soon.
Dex, I'm sorry to disappoint you. They did not do anything impressive with Mark Dacascos. It's disappointing, and we're all kind of waiting for that to kind of shake out. Any final thoughts on Agents of Shield? Anybody want to add anything?
I mean, he did some shit in the last season, which was good. It wasn't enough. Because when they announced that he was going to be on there, I'm like, oh shit, this show is going to take off.
I thought it was going to pop off. Yeah.
And then he had a couple little scenes here and there which were good, but they're not utilizing him well. So hopefully, before the season is over, that they're going to use him. They're going to use his martial arts skills, and
But hold on, in all honesty, what martial arts has he done since Iron Chef? Because Iron Chef is seriously, Iron Chef. He kind of seemed like he retired from doing the acting thing, and he was doing Iron Chef. So what has he been in between, Iron Chef and Shield, where he's actually done any martial arts?
No, he's been in he was a recurring role on Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah, he was a bad guy, wasn't he? Yeah, he was a bad guy. Yeah.
For like 3 seasons, I think, something like that.
Hawaii Five-0. I believe you brought that up. No, you'd have to, because you like Hawaii. So
Hey, that's my show right there, man.
Yeah, and never mind that Grace Park was on there too. Not bad. Not bad. Hey, I had a crush on her since Battlestar Galactica, so that was my thing.
What I like about her, even though she's Korean, she actually passes for Hawaiian. She actually looks like
I had considered that. I hadn't considered that. You're all right about that. So anyway, guys, we're gonna move on to the main topic of the day, and what we're gonna do today, guys, is obviously Tuesday. It's a game day, and what game's topic today is going to be. It's going to be concerning the ongoing kind of, I guess, a loyalty war that we've kind of got with PS4 and the Xbox. Now, and this stems from the news that kind of dropped yesterday about the PS, I mean the Xbox, Microsoft opening cross-platform play with Steam and PC games and PS4 games. Um, with Rocket League. I think Rocket League was the game that they were doing it for. And I remarked yesterday that this could signal the end of this could be the pretense for ending all kind of exclusivity in for all intents and purposes, because really, what's it going to matter if you buy a game on Xbox or on PS4? What's it going to matter if your friend has PS4 and you have Xbox, if you can still play each other? It's not really going to matter anymore. So, and it kind of touched off of a big discussion kind of yesterday, and we decided to really bring it up today, and kind of do a debate about it, about whether it's really important for people to hold on to these brand loyalties, if it's going to move in the direction of just having cross-platform play. So Josh was in the chat yesterday. He didn't get to kind of weigh in on it. So I want to kind of get his feelings uh, about whether it matters, about um, brand loyalty the for these systems, if it doesn't matter or not. So Josh, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Give me your best riff on this topic.
All right. So, I mean, as far as brand loyalty, I mean, if you're talking about brand loyalty in terms of pure reverence to, say, PlayStation or Xbox, or Nintendo or whatever, I mean, obviously people don't tend to bring Nintendo into the fray when they're talking about things like that, although they got a really deep cultural presence. People, especially people who've been playing games for a really long time. But in terms of like the big console war, no one's thrown the Nintendo Wii into the console war with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So in terms of that, I think that brand loyalty is kind of ridiculous. It's no different than the whole DC versus Marvel thing. Obviously, there's great quality from both of them, and at times there's better quality from one of them. I purchased an Xbox One before I purchased an Xbox 4. Eventually, I will purchase an Xbox 4, and the reason for that is everyone kept talking about the physical power of the PlayStation 4, and to that my response was simply the PlayStation 3 had more power than the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 was superior in almost every conceivable way in terms of the games that came out for it, exclusive content, the online experience, things like Xbox Live's chat, the fact that I could chat with my brother who's playing Gears of War while I'm playing Skyrim. You can't beat that experience. It's something that you can't really do on the PlayStation, or you couldn't do it on the PlayStation 3. I don't know if that's a feature that they have extended now on the PlayStation 4, but eventually the quality of the Xbox 360 compared to the PlayStation 3 in such a comparable way that the extra power that the system had didn't really matter. I see something similar to that happening in this console generation. If it doesn't, if the PlayStation 4 really starts to exceed in terms of the quality of its products, it's still got to have that quality of everything. It's got to have the quality of storytelling. It's got to have the quality of gameplay. I mean, you can have the most beautiful game in the world, have it be a piece of crap. It doesn't really matter. But I think that at the end of the day, people are going to go where their preference tends to lead them. There are the diehards, and those people aren't going to have their minds changed. There are the people who think that Marvel's better than DC. There are people who think DC's better than Marvel. There are people who think Xbox is better.
Boy, haven't we been going through that? If we have not been going through that lately.
Right. I mean, that's the huge thing right now. Of
right.
course.
Aaron's Gaming, that's me. Welcome to the chat, sir. We're glad to have you. If you're just joining the show, we're doing a debate right now on brand loyalty between the game consoles and whether it matters anymore or not. I hope you'll stick around for the rest of the show. And and at the end or even before then, you'll give us a follow and kind of check us out from here on. Thank you for that, Josh. Let's go to Mr. Megashawn, and what do you think about? I know you kind of gave us your feelings a little bit yesterday. You might not need to do 3 full minutes, but do the best you can and kind of expand a little bit on what Josh was saying. We've got people are going to choose sides whether it's Marvel versus DC or Xbox versus PS4. Does it even matter anymore, or does it matter anymore? What do you think?
Boy, as I sit on this roof under fire taking heads off, no, I mean I don't really think it does matter. I think it's truly a matter of preference. For example, um, let's say the PlayStation does have more power. Okay, so the PlayStation has more power, but as Josh was alluding to, if I'm able to play with, 5 of my friends the same game, and that's something that I'm at the time wasn't able to do on PlayStation, then what really has more power? Like if I can play with everybody I want to and talk to them at the same time, and I'm only able to play by myself on the PlayStation, then it all depends on what your definition of power is. Now, in regards to Grand Theft Auto, does Grand Theft Auto look different on the PlayStation 4? Yes, it is a lot more crisp. It has more grass and things like that, but I don't have the level of camaraderie that I would like to have, that I had via the 360 or even the Xbox One. And for some weird part of me, I like getting achievements. I'm not really sure why, but I kind of enjoy getting the achievements as opposed to just getting random trophies. Like it doesn't have the same feeling. But owning both systems, as Josh said, I don't really think it matters. It's just a matter of which one you prefer. I think both are great systems, but both cater to two different crowds. If you're a GQ type and you prefer to play by yourself until the online aspect is flawless, then Sony is definitely where you should go. But if you're someone who enjoys talking and playing with their friends, and even now they're about to have a 16-person chat, which is just going to be epic chaos, and it's going to be beautiful, I'm sure, then, obviously Xbox One would be where you'd want to go, because that's not something that the PlayStation 4 can provide. So, it's just a matter of, you pick your poison. It's whichever brand of vodka you choose, drink up.
That's very true. That is very, very true. Thank you for that, Megashawn. GQ, chime in your thoughts, especially when it comes to terms of power and all that kind of stuff that Megashawn was kind of bringing up. Give us your thoughts on that. 3 minutes.
Well, when it comes to power, I mean, the PlayStation 4 obviously is the most powerful system or console of this generation. So realistically, if you have the more powerful system, as time goes on and as developers learn more about how they can utilize that power, you can get better games out of one system than you can another. So since Microsoft, they're kind of tapped out on everything that thing can do right now, 4 years from now, before it's time to get the Xbox 2 or whatever the hell they're going to call it, they're going to be having the more inferior games over and over and over. PS4 is going to keep getting better and better and better. That's what happened with the PS3. So to me, if you've got a better system and more power to work with out of the box, I'd rather deal with that and have a good 10 years out of my system versus 4 years out of the original Xbox, and then they dropped it like a bad habit when the 360 came out. And also, when it comes down to online play, as you guys know, I could care less about talking to people when I'm playing a game. They're not important to me when I'm playing a game. The only time people become important is when you're trash talking in Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, or any other fighting game. I don't care about Gears of War. I don't care about Call of Duty. I don't care about Battlefield. I don't care about any of those other games that everybody loves to play, because I like individual achievement. I like going out there being the hero of the game and that be it. Star Wars is an exception. Star Wars trumps all. Star Wars, the first time I played a role-playing game, it was Knights of the Old Republic because it was Star Wars. I hate RPGs outside of Knights of the Old Republic. So to me, brand loyalty isn't really so much a brand issue. PlayStation just happens to be the better brand this time around, and they've been the better brand. They've always been the better brand in the sense of supporting their system longer than anybody else. Nintendo is probably the only exception because that's all Nintendo has left nowadays is their systems. But when it came down to it, when I had an original Xbox, I had a 360, I had all the PlayStations. Xbox basically, as you just started to notice over the years, dropped stuff left and right. Like I said, the original Xbox dropped it like it was a bad habit the second the 360 came out. They stopped making games for that thing like 3 months later, and that was pathetic. Sony PlayStation 2, they supported that thing 5 years into the lifespan of the PlayStation 3. So to me, it's really about supporting your system. That's why Sony gets my quote-unquote brand loyalty. So that's pretty much all I really have to say about it. Like I said, you guys can bring up all the opinions you want about talking to your friends and all this blah, blah, blah. I can talk to you guys right here. I don't need to talk to you when I'm playing Grand Theft Auto. I'm focusing on killing people. I'm not worried about what you guys are talking about.
Okay. Datakuji, won't you jump in there as an owner of, multiple systems and someone that really doesn't care about brand loyalty or who has what console or who has the other. What is it that's behind this staunch adherence to a system? As Megashawn kind of brought up, he was trying to bring up the fact that the reason he sticks with Xbox so much primarily is because a lot of his friends kind of stick with the system. But if this comes about with the whole cross-platform play and they work in cross-platform chat, will that kind of feeling go away, and will we see less of this vitriol between the Xbox and the PS4 and the Sony fans?
Well, first off, no, because not everybody thinks like me. Some people think like Megashawn, some people think like GQ. I think a lot of people who, when they spend a lot of money on something, they put, lack of a better sense, their heart into it. So it's like, if I'm going to spend this money on it, it better be worth my time. And then GQ's point, he's absolutely right. Sony, every single Sony platform that's come out, they supported the living crap out of it. The PlayStation was for 10 years. Even when the PlayStation 2 came out 5 years after the PlayStation, but they were still doing PlayStation 2 or PlayStation games, and so on and so forth. So like when he's looking for like longevity for stuff, because saying Sony is going to support the systems, but like for me, I don't look into that stuff at all, because like the whole reason for me to buy a video game system is to play the games, and regardless if a system has been supported for 2 years or 10 years, if there's games on it that I want to play, I'm supporting the system. There was a time when the great Datakuji was a little brand loyal, because he started off with the Nintendo. Nintendo was absolutely fabulous, but when he saw the Sega Genesis, it blew my mind. I was like, wow. Like, I really liked the Super Nintendo. I enjoyed the graphics, but I just thought the games were more fun on the Sega Genesis because they just had like an edge to it. They seemed like they were growing up, teenager type games, and Nintendo still had a little bit of kiddie stuff in it, and RPGs were just RPG. The Super Nintendo was an RPG machine. I didn't care for RPGs back then. I didn't start liking RPGs until the PlayStation came out. But besides that, I was all about the games. I'm still about the games. And like, I own the PlayStation 4, and I agree, it is the most powerful system right now. I own an Xbox One. I bought them both because there's exclusives for both both systems. I can't play certain games that I like on PlayStation 4 that came on an Xbox One. It's not going to happen. So if I want to play these games, I got to have both systems. So when it comes down to brand loyalty, for me, it's game loyalty. I'll be more loyal to a developer because I know these developers are going to come out with good games. For example, even though it's not right now, Konami. Konami used to be as people in the 90s used to say, my jam, right? Contra, Castlevania.
Man.
I mean, you could go on and on about the stuff that Konami was doing, and
Still say that.
Yeah, they do still say that.
Still say it's my jam. But it's just like, this right here, I'm going to get a good game if I buy it from this developer, despite what system is on. Because, like, for example, sitting in front of me, even though the label's a little worn, it's Castlevania Bloodlines. I can't reach it, but I got Super Castlevania 4. They're both great Castlevania games. There's some people out there that will say, oh, Super Castlevania 4 is better than Bloodline. I don't give a shit. They're different games, and they're both fun. And you had to have a Genesis for one. You had to have a Super Nintendo for the other one. So in order to play them, instead of saying, well, I'm just Super Nintendo, well, you missed out. I'm not the type of person that wants to miss out on a fun game.
Right.
So, like,
Right.
I'm just not going to back a system. A system is just there to play a game.
I get you.
Yeah, so, like,
I totally get you.
you get that, and you get a fun game. You know, whatever. 32X still have fun games for it.
Right.
Yeah, most of them were shit, but the ones that I liked, I bought, and I can play them over and over again.
All right. Hey, Krusty, jump in there. I know you're not necessarily a great console player, but you know you played a lot of consoles in the past. I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I still play console games.
Okay, so you're PS4 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last generation, you were Xbox?
I was both. I had both.
Yeah, both. Okay, you had both. Okay,
Mhm.
but now you got PS4. You don't have an Xbox One. Is this
No.
all kind of silly to you? Is this whole brand loyalty thing? I mean, because like we've alluded to, there's always going to be people that when they make their purchase, not everybody is balling like that, so they can't buy both systems every time.
Everybody's not Gates.
Right. So they'll buy whatever's most cost effective. For me, it was the PS4. I don't have an Xbox One, but I've never been one of those that just tied, and said, "Oh, well, PS4 is this or Xbox is that." Is this all just kind of stupid, silly stuff? More Marvel versus DC type thing? 3 minutes.
I guess I can understand it because before last generation, I had just a PlayStation 3. I loved it. And I was like, no, like my best friends all played it on the 360. I just played by myself. And I was like, I don't want a 360 because, I like Sony better. I like PlayStation. And I'm a big JRPG person. There's not a lot of JRPGs for Xbox.
No, they are not.
Nathaniel Nichols, welcome.
Hold on one second.
The reason why I got
Nathaniel Nichols, welcome to the show. He said he had every Sony system since the PS1. There's a man that is brand loyal. Please do continue, Krusty. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I forgot what it was. Yes, and I got PS4 because, Kingdom Hearts 3 was supposed to be coming out. No one knows now. So brand loyalty, I don't know. I'm not really. I buy it because I enjoy it. I was going to get a 360 because my friends had it, but now because of this whole, they do the whole cross-platform thing, then I don't really need to pick my friends based off of, the consoles that everybody have. The only problem that I could see where it crosses the platform is if it will be, console and PC for first-person shooters or Rocket League. If anybody played the Rocket League, that game is intense.
Well,
so in having that as a console person and a PC, obviously, I think that's not even fair to compare. But it's a good start, I think.
Well, Rocket League is the game in question that is being, put on cross-platform. So, what you're saying is definitely going to come to pass. So, let me expand the discussion here and say, okay, everybody talk a little bit. Kahuna, I didn't get to you yet. Do you have any thoughts that you want to add on the discussion of whether this is silly or not?
Well, as you guys know, I'm not really much of a gamer anymore, but I've never really had any, quote unquote, brand loyalty. I'm kind of in the opinion of Dadakuji. It's for me back in the day, it was about the game. So if there was a certain console that had a game that was only exclusive to that, I used to go get that console. So there was a point in time where I had the Wii, I had the Xbox, I had the PlayStation. I still occasionally play my Dreamcast. It was just, it was about the game, so I didn't really have. I've always looked at the PlayStation as the superior one, just because I've always been a fan of Sony products. Sony products is always everything from cameras to video cameras to the PlayStation, stuff like that. So I've always looked at Sony as the better console, but at the same time, like I said, I was never really loyal to it. If there was a game that I wanted to play, and it was only for that certain console, I used to go just get that console and so I could play that game. So
Okay. So let me expand the discussion then. Let's move and let's get you everybody's quick thoughts on whether or not um, it's going to disappear now. The whether or not the whole cross-platform thing is going to make exclusivity totally extinct. Will this take effect and be expanded upon beyond just Rocket League? Do you see them doing online matchmaking for fighting games, online matchmaking for first-person shooters, online matchmaking for um, for RPGs or MMOs? Well, what do you guys think? GQ, real quick.
Well, in all honesty, you can never get rid of console exclusivity because each manufacturer makes their own games. You're always going to have Microsoft games in the studios that they own. You're always going to have Sony games in the studios that they own. Nintendo is never going to stop making Nintendo games. So console exclusives really, or for third parties, don't exist because third parties, they don't have any choice nowadays. They have to make games for basically every available platform that they can make them for. Wii U obviously being the exception because they decided to go niche market yet again. So you're never going to get just Assassin's Creed for the Xbox and that's it because Ubisoft can't afford that. You're never going to get, well, Street Fighter is an exception because basically Sony bought it out, but you're never going to really get like Mortal Kombat just on the Xbox or just on the PlayStation because NetherRealm Studios and Warner Brothers especially, they don't want to like waste that money. It's like, why not just put it out on both? So the cross-platform, yes, for the masses will be helpful. It'll be, you won't have to pick your friends. But again, like I said, I don't really care one way or the other because I'm not playing online with anybody anyway,
Well,
unless it's Star Wars. So for me, the cross-platform is kind of a worthless gesture. Maybe for everybody else, maybe it's great, whatever. To me, it's like, if they don't fix the online to begin with, then why do I care whether or not they're going to try to be able to get Xbox people and PC people and Sony people together? So to me, it's Microsoft trying to make a last desperate gasp to be relevant, like I said yesterday.
okay. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Antisocial. Josh, will you chime in and let us know what you think?
Yeah, that is pretty antisocial. No, I mean, to each their own. That's kind of my point, though, is people are going to have their own preferences, and they're going to go where their gaming preferences go. As far as the cross, the cross promotion or the cross play, as far as across the various brands, Steam has really brought that idea and that question to the forefront as well. People thought that Microsoft was going to maybe, bring in that cross promotion, that cross play with Steam, simply because they're a computer manufacturer as well, and they thought that they might introduce that into the Xbox One first. But if they do that,
Then, oh man, he's
the
good.
people who are on the fence, waver one way or the other. But I think that what Chris actually said is right, that if people are not going to get rid of exclusivity, there's too much profit in it. PlayStation's not going to give up, exclusivity rights to a specific brand, or a specific brand's not going to give up exclusivity rights to, releasing games only on the PlayStation, and the same with the Xbox Ones. Um, you know, Tomb Raider is just an example. It's not going to be forever exclusive on Xbox One, but it's an Xbox One exclusive still until they release it on PC. Um, so I mean, eventually they'll get to a point where it will matter a little less, but it's never not going to matter because, like you said, like Chris said, you're always going to have those brand exclusives, and there are going to be people like Dadakuji and myself who are going to say, I'm going after the games. I really don't care what platform they're on. That's the reason I particularly went with the Xbox, and that's the exact same reason that Chris went with PlayStation 4. We have the exact same motivations at hand, and it's what Dadakuji said. We're going after the games. We're going after our preferences.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Megashawn, check in. First of all, real quick, I want you to give a shout out to Mr. Crash Logic. He wants to find someone to matchmake and play play the Division on Xbox One with, hit him with your gamer tag real quick and let him know.
It's Megashawn. The E is a 3. Other than that, it's Megashawn. But
Okay.
in regards to the topic at hand, it's exactly what Chris, GQ, the Big Kahuna, and the Great Dido have all stated. It's just a matter of whatever you want to do. I was fortunate enough to be able to have both, so that isn't really a problem I have as far as choosing. But just you do whatever makes you happy. And that's all I have to say about that.
As he goes right back to playing the Division, he can't be bothered. Dadakuji, chime in. Do you think this is going to end exclusivity forever?
No. I mean, if as long as you're going to be console makers, you're going to have exclusivity. Exactly like GQ said. I mean, until somebody folds, i.e., the next one that supposedly might do it, which I seriously still doubt, because they made so much money with the Nintendo Wii, would be Nintendo. A lot of people say, Nintendo, you guys should just give up the console just stick to making games, because you make the same franchises over and over again. They don't try anything new. People are like, you know what, stop making consoles, or if you're going to just make consoles, make the handheld, because you're dominant in the handheld market, because nobody can touch it, and then put all your other stuff on like other systems. But that's not going to happen, because Nintendo is their brand. They're probably the biggest when it comes to what games, even though they don't really hold much of the market share now because of the decisions they continue to keep making with these peripherals when they come out with these consoles. But no, they're not going anywhere. What's going to end up happening is that you're going to have Sony and Microsoft, and I'm not really too sure Nintendo, probably bidding over exclusive rights for certain games, like they did with Tomb Raider. You might see the new Assassin's Creed. Somebody says, okay, it's exclusive to this system for a bit. It's going to be like that. What they're trying to get at, I mean, now with the whole thing is, what they're trying to get at is they have a game that's on PlayStation, it's a game on Xbox One, and everybody can play those games together. That's all they're trying to get. I don't think that's going to kill it. Exclusivity is just going to make people say, hey, my friend has a PlayStation 4 and I got an Xbox One. We can still play games together, because Krusty was saying that she got PlayStation 3 and all her friends had 360s. She couldn't play with anybody. That's how it is. If you pick the system your friends don't have, you either make friends on the online for there if you choose to play online, or you don't play with anybody. And being the fact that I am who I am, majority of my last generation games were for 360, because if I had the opportunity, I could play with my friends.
Right.
And everything that was exclusive to Sony, I bought exclusive to that, because it's like, I want these games. So if it was multi-plat, I bought it for one system, and then all the exclusive. That swapped this generation. PlayStation 4 is getting all the multi-plat stuff, and all the exclusives going to Xbox One.
Yeah, can I come in real quick and make a point on what Daikuji just said? I think that he was right on the cusp, and I thought he was going to say it is, cross-platform games is the proof that console wars will never end, because if they've got cross-platform games and that wasn't ending the console war, then what's going to make cross-platform play? You know what I'm saying? Multiplayer is still a relatively new thing, and the console wars survived 3 different generations of separate systems way before online play came. I think that will still go on. If people want to do online play, will enjoy that as an option, but it's not going to end the console wars.
Okay. Krusty, do you think it's going to end exclusivity, or on the flip side, like Dadakuji was trying to bring up, will it expand exclusivity and make it even more special?
I'm not a big fan of exclusivity. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think there's really a point to it. No, I'm not. Well, I was about to say I'm not going to buy a console because 3 games are on that and not another one. But I mean, Kingdom Hearts is kind of why I really wanted a PS4. That's not going to come out on the 360. So I mean,
sorry, yeah, the new Kingdom Hearts is coming out.
Oh, it is. Okay,
Yeah,
well then,
same thing
okay,
with
well it is.
they killed that with the last system, because if you remember correctly, all the new Final Fantasies came out on Xbox One as well as PlayStation 3.
Oh well, I didn't know about the one.
Yeah, Square just
well,
dropped
yeah.
the whole thing, which was
So
shocking.
there's no really point for it then. I don't believe I can't even say the word. I don't think it should be a thing, except for like Nintendo and Nintendo, which makes sense. That's kind of how I go for it. But I think it would make it better. I mean, not. I think it would make more people want to make exclusive games for the console. They would make more exclusive games for the console because I guess they feel everybody has a favorite console, and I think it's just being petty. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it.
Okay, Kahuna, chime in real fast.
I don't know. I don't really have much to say on that. I'm just kind of with like I said before. I'm with Dadakuji. Everything he said, that's pretty much how I feel. And being that I'm not a gamer right now, to me, I mean, right now it doesn't even really matter to me.
What are you here for? If you can't even chime in, what are you here for? You just here to take up space?
I'm here. Hey man, my presence is a present.
Okay, I'll buy that.
I'm here to be the guy that the non-gamer opinion.
Nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, I look at it this way, and I'll say this real quick before the end of the show. Honestly, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. Essentially. So it's like, I look at it as exclusives bring competition. Competition brings better games.
Totally.
So if you constantly have everybody holding hands and singing Kumbaya and nobody wants to step outside of their little happy zone box, then the competition is going to fall. The games are going to start to really, really suck. So I like the console wars. I like competition. I like friction. I like violence. I like this group versus this group. Because without that, you have complacency. And I don't never, ever want complacency in my video games. Because when they get complacent games, you get Wii shovelware.
You are absolutely right, and that's every fan of NFL 2K cursed EA to death when they bought up the NFL license. It made Madden the only game in town, because honestly, without it, they stopped trying. They stopped trying. They stopped innovating. NFL 2K was nipping at their heels, and they were kind of gaining ground, and then EA got scared and bought up the license, and and that was that. Megashawn, chime in. What you about to say?
Gaining ground isn't even close. They had it, and then all of a sudden EA just said, "I don't."
We're gonna kill that. Yeah, we're gonna kill that real quick. Yeah.
That was, to this day that still hurts.
Okay. So that's something that has bugged me to this day about that exclusive deal, and I've been waiting for it to expire so 2K could get back into and look at the way that they're killing the game in NBA 2K. They're basically the only game in town in the NBA video game racket, and they innovate almost every year, almost, with the exception of a couple years ago when they first went to PS4. But whatever. So anyway, that was a very great discussion. Thank you, everybody, for your thoughts and for your opinions. They're very well validated out there in Junkie Nation. Please let us know what you guys think about the ongoing console war. Don't say sorry to me, Krusty, because even though it's virtual football, virtual basketball, it's still great. We'll still play it. I mean, hell, they shell out $60 every single year for what sometimes amounts to nothing more than a glorified roster update. So
sports games are garbage. Go outside and play for real.
That's not always possible when it's the dead of winter, but okay.
Tough it out.
Tough it out, he says. Freeze to death.
Right?
Freeze to death. Freeze to death, he's saying. Anyway, that's going to be the show. But we thank everybody for joining us. If you're new to the show, we've seen a lot of new faces, a lot of new names. We thank you very much for joining the show. We hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please do hit the subscribe on YouTube, and also give us a follow there on Twitch if you're new on Twitch. We're here every day, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoyed the show today, hopefully you'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be our comic book day that we're going to be talking about comic related topic. Follow us on Twitter and find us on Facebook if you want to get any updates about what the show is going to be about tomorrow. So yes, like Autumn's saying in the chat right now, shout out to everybody that was watching that didn't comment in the chat. Shout out to everybody that did comment in the chat. We value you all. We love you all. You're all valuable members of Junkie Nation. For the Great Dadakuji, for Krusty, for Big Kahuna, for GQ, for Megashon, and for our good friend Josh Monday, who can't seem to stay away. I am your boy Kenshiro. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta mañana.
Bye,
Say
everybody.
goodbye,
Play some video games.
Play some video games. Exactly.
Not virtual football or basketball.
Yes, do both of those.